Sweet. So what I'll do is just have you, whenever you're ready, kind of have you say your name, hey, I'm Sarah. It's Badran?
Badran.
Badran.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah Badran. If you're comfortable saying your age.
Okay.
And then what it is that you do for a living.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Sarah Badran, and I'm 30 years old, and I'm the founder of Creative Currency, a local PR and brand management company here in Dallas.
So I gotta ask first off, how did you get this job?
Well, it's my company, so I essentially started it, but it was just a long time coming from a lot of the work that I had been doing throughout the year. So I've been in the industry for a little over 10 years now, and yeah, so I got my degree in PR from the University of North Texas, and I actually knew I wanted to do PR since I was like 16 years old. It kind of spawned off of me just looking into different careers and trying to find, I knew that I wanted to work with people, I wanted to be entertainment, and I knew I wanted to be in a situation where every day was gonna be different. There was like never gonna be a dull moment, and I could constantly challenge myself. And it really struck me when, it's ironic, but a show called Sex and the City, there was a character named Samantha who was a PR agent, and I was just enamored by like what she would do, just like working red carpets and events and things, and I felt like it kind of accumulated everything I wanted to do, and that's how I kind of landed on PR.
So typical day, what hours do you have to work this?
There's really no typical day. So the music industry and entertainment industry is a very like late night, sporadic, 24-hour type of industry. So there's really no boundaries. Normally, my week starts pretty late. I like to have my personal time actually in the mornings, and then I go into my meetings like from like noon, and it could last all the way up till 10 or 11. Sometimes I get asked to do go to shows a lot. A lot of my job is going to concerts, whether it's for networking or just being invited within the industry and things like that. So sometimes it can get late into the club hours, which is like past 2.
I probably should have asked this earlier, but when we talk about PR, so would you say your clients are predominantly music artists or?
Yes, so I predominantly work in the entertainment realm. I would say 70% of my clients tend to be music artists, and then from there it's a mixture of fashion designers, visual artists, and sometimes I even work with athletes. So
what kind of education or training did you have to get to the spot that you're in now?
So it's really a mixture of the traditional type of education that you would get from college. And so like I mentioned, I did go to UNT and got my degree in strategic communications with a focus in public relations, but I really do credit a lot of my knowledge through just the experience that I've had. I did a lot of internships. I really got into the game initially when I was 18, 19 years old, working for 97.9 under their promotions team. And so that's where I really got, my first start within the entertainment industry, just doing radio promotional runs for different artists and working with the promotional director there. And I was working different meet and greets at concerts and just flying the whole city with like flyers and things like that to help promote. And that's when I really first got the gist of it.
Typical day, how do you spend your day?
Like I said, there really isn't a typical day because it just depends on what my clients have at a certain time. So a lot of when it comes to music, it's based around them releasing something. So a music video or a track, or possibly doing an event for their brand and things like that. So again, it could be around event time. Like event days are a really long day. It starts super early. I might have to like go around town and pick up different supplies and things like that. And then getting to the location, sometimes running a sound check, just making sure everything's in place. I'm very hands-on with everything I do. I don't like to leave room for error.
The best part. What's the best part of this job?
I think the best part of it is that I get to do what I love, and that I get to wake up every day and do something that I actually have a passion for. And I love helping people. Like I was just talking to someone about this the other day, and like the idea of like giving somebody that first moment. Like I also do booking, so if an artist gets to perform on their first big stage, or get to open for a really big artist that they look up to, or they get that first cover story or big placement, it really helps, encourage them and motivate them to keep going. And it really means a lot to them, and to be able to like help create that moment, but then also be able to challenge myself and reach new levels for myself and my career. It's all really exciting, and it's like a win-win situation for everyone.
Cool. So I flip the coin over. I always say, what's the worst part then? What's the worst part about this job?
Oh, worst part. Okay, so working with entertainers, it's very, they're very emotional creatures and very sensitive, and there's a lot of egos in this industry, so you have to learn to have a lot of patience. So I went into this industry initially with like zero patience. Like I couldn't even wait 30 seconds. I was over it. But this industry has taught me so much patience, working with so many different types of personalities and egos and expectations, that you have to learn how to like manage that and still like stay sane and calm. I also tell people I consider myself kind of like a triple minority, because I'm young, I'm a minority, and I'm a woman, and in the industry, and it's very male dominated, so I'm dealing with a lot of aggression, and I said like egos, and just trying to be that calm, straightforward person and building a reputation of getting things done and in the right, precise, and like well way.
But is this your ideal dream job?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I keep trying to think, if I could switch careers, and I think there's still evolutions in where I could go. Like a lot, I've been getting things in my mind lately about possibly like becoming an agent, because a lot of the work that I do kind of teeters on like agency work, and being someone's agent. And then too, I've also had the desire of possibly being an executive at a music label eventually, and going into that realm. But again, I just really love to be able to wake up every day and kind of call the shots and, just go with the flow, and again, just continually challenge myself. And I love the position that I've been able to put myself within the city just through hard work and, persistence and consistency is really big. And so to be at the position that I'm at now, where people know, oh, okay, you need PR, you need a promotional run, you need a great event, like you need to call Sarah, you need to, partner with Creative Currency. And to be in that position in a growing market such as Dallas is like such a beautiful place to be. And I don't take that, lightly. Like I know that it's a responsibility and it gives me purpose, and that's all really fulfilling for me.
Do you see yourself doing this in 5 years? Or do you see yourself in that executive role, or in that?
Starting my own company and putting as much like sweat equity into what I'm doing, like I just can't imagine, not doing it. It's always something I'm going to be able to fall back on, and that I know that I've built on my own and can call mine. So I think it's always going to be like any project or idea or like anything creative wise that I have, I'm going to funnel it through this business. But again, I do, I don't know what the future holds. Like if another position opens up where they really value what I do and it gives me the opportunity to grow in another direction, I would, entertain that as well too.
So advice, do you have any advice that you give to someone that's looking at coming into this industry, into PR, into what you're doing? Anything you'd want to pass on?
I always say learn as much as you can as early as you can, and really you have to have a passion for this industry to make it through it, or else you'll give up, because it's not easy. Like a lot of people think it's a very like glamorous position and things like that, but they don't understand like all the time and equity, like I said, that you have to put into it. And it's hard. Like it's hard on like you just having like personal time, and like I don't really see my friends and family as much as I do because I'm so consumed by the position. But honestly, you have to be that way in order to be great at this. So you have to understand the sacrifices that it's going to take when you get into it, and really study what all that position entails, because if it is something that you want to do, then you have to commit to it like full force in order to be great. Yeah.
Misconceptions. Are there common misconceptions that you face or that you deal with people again in your industry? We touched on some of them earlier, but about the male-dominated industry maybe, or?
Yes. Again, just like being a woman, they just think that like we're overly sensitive and that we won't be able to handle it, and that it is a man's game. So I have to learn to kind of just like fuck up a little bit and like be able to like match that same intensity and aggression in order to be taken seriously. And there's just a really big, huge like groupie stereotype in the music industry. Like a lot of times, like if you're, you know, backstage or in that situation, they don't normally assume that a woman's there to be working. They usually think that they're there to meet the artist. And so I'm constantly having to assert myself and be like, no, I'm here for business. I'm actually running this situation. So, but I've learned how to do it, you know, very gracefully to where I don't see those issues anymore. But it was a big issue, like starting out, like constantly having to be like, people are like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I'm actually the one running the production. So
I always ask this question, but it's kind of a no-brainer, I think. Again, do you get to listen to music while you're working? And is that obviously it's a big part of your day?
Yes, music basically encompasses my day. Like, I mean, I chose to be in the music industry because of my love of music, and actually, like, I'm an artist first, so I did a lot of like choir and theater and dance growing up, and I still like play guitar and write music sometimes just as like an outlet for myself, and I think it helps me understand the mind of a creative really well. But yeah, a lot of my job is, you know, listening to artist music, like I said, going to shows, and constantly, like I probably go to at least 100 shows a year, if that. Like it seems like that sometimes, because it could be, you know, at least like 4 to 5 a week.
Vacation. Yeah, I know you're working a lot and you're working hard and you're working most of the day, but do you get vacation time? Is that important? Do you schedule that? How?
I need to be better about that, but like, so something that I personally love to do is travel. Like that's what keeps me, like, my creative juices flowing and keeps me motivated. It's just to, you know, see other markets and like how industry is ran in different cities and things like that. And I go to LA constantly for work, like a lot, and then sometimes New York and Atlanta and Chicago, and I do a lot of work throughout Texas as well too. A majority of my work lately has been like throughout Texas, so I'm just looking to build within other markets, but I try to like package it to like, okay, if I'm already gonna go out there, let me do a couple days for work and then like take a couple days to just, you know, be a human being and enjoy life and culture and the world and you know, get to see new things.
Retirement. Do you have like visions of retirement down the road, or is that way too ridiculously far?
So, I mean, I hope to be able to like retire kind of early, at least like 40 or 45 if possible. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm so consumed and addicted to working, unless like my life were to change dramatically, like, you know, getting married and settling down, having kids. Like, I don't know. I think I'm just so anxious. Like, I have a problem with like even like just relaxing and sitting still. Like, I'm like, what do I need to do next? Because I'm always constantly balancing a million things. So it almost makes me feel weird when there's like silence or stillness. I'm like, I should be doing something. So eventually I do want to be able to retire and get to just travel more and enjoy, you know, the fruits of my labor. But also I do see myself like educating. You know, I speak on a lot of panels currently and host workshops and different things like that, because I do have a big, you know, passion for education and especially inspiring other women to get into this field and just like, you know, learning from my experiences and things like that. Because I do feel like an old lady, even though I'm like young, because I've just experienced so much in so little time. But yeah, I want to be able to possibly like either teach at a school as a professor or get to tour around the nation, possibly like speaking about what I do. I mean, my biggest goal, I don't know what it looks like just yet, but I do want to revolutionize the industry in some way. And so I don't think I'll be content until I do that. And then once I do that, I want to be able to teach what I've done.
Last question. If you had it to do over again, this path, this choice,
yeah,
would you do it?
I mean, of course, there's things that you've learned that you wish you could kind of like take back and not do and fix. But I think overall, like, making mistakes and learning and falling flat on the ground just like makes you a better person and makes you stronger. And it's weird because like once I started really getting into this role, it made me realize how everything I had done prior had all the little things, all the different situations, all the random jobs that I did and had and roles that I took on, all gave me some type of skill set to make me the powerhouse that I am right now. So again, as much as I'm like, oh, I would have redone this and this and this, I think everything had its divine purpose to make me who I am today. Love your questions.
Thanks.
It's so cool to still get to reflect back, because I tell people I really don't. I move so fast and I just keep going that I don't ever take the time to just reflect back on what I've done.